Aloha kako everyone. Welcome to another Nerd Fight. I am simply your humble host, the Spaceman, Dr. Spaceman, whatever you want to call me. Just be nice when you do it. I'm here with two exciting competitors, no stranger to this game now. They're both out for blood. They're both out to dominate this battle, and I've got some distinguished judges here with me to help me out today and take the burden of judging these two gentlemen who I hold dear to my heart. So, first we've got our competitors. Somebody mysterious over there reading something. I'm not sure what he's reading, but I think that's the Raptor Master. I think that's Mr. Peck. Mr. Peck, how are you, sir?
Very good. Not the space, man. Very good. Did some researching, doing some work. Not only that, I've been reading this really special book by Mr. Brad Gilmore. If you hadn't checked it out, it's a very fascinating read along with it, though. So, very recommended, very well. Not only good knowledge about it, but also very fascinating. For me, I did a very good job, and I will say this: I'm a big fan of Ryan for almost for a year, and I've seen some videos, I've seen some takes from him. And this is someone I'm very fascinated by, and I wanted to compete with someday. So I just can't wait for it right here. So let's do it. Got my notes ready to go and ready.
All right. So doing his research, watching game tape. And it's easy to watch game tape because this brother's been everywhere, every trivia battle. If there's a movie to quote, this gentleman's going to quote it. And that would be Sir Ryan. How are you doing, Sir Ryan?
Well, thank you very much, everybody. I'm flattered. I'm happy to be here. This is exciting. Thank you for the kind words, Jonathan, my fellow competitor. Look forward to going up against you in this matchup tonight. Yeah, I'm doing good. I did a little research myself. Maybe watched 30, 40 minutes of a certain part of this franchise this morning while I was eating my ridiculously good-looking Honey Nut Cheerios. And I got my notes here. And, yeah, I'm ready to do this thing. But here's the problem, though. Jonathan, I got my Gray Sports Almanac, and it specifically says that I defeated you in this matchup that we're about to have tonight. So I've seen your future, and it's very heavy, and it looks kind of bleak. But you know what? We're going to have fun competing in this matchup. We got a great group of judges here, whether they're above us or below, wherever their camera angles are, because I'm not a producer. But this is going to be fun. So let's get in our DeLoreans. Let's go 88 miles per hour. Let's see some serious shit, and let's compete in this thing.
Nice. Very, very good opening speech there. I appreciate that. All right. And today, all I have to do is host. All I got to do is put these two in timeout if I need to, if they start to get a little too rambunctious. But I got some judges who will be hearing these arguments, dissecting these arguments, and then putting final judgments on it. Right up there, we got Mr. Diaz. Mr. Diaz, how are you, sir?
Doing good. A pretty nice evening. I'm ready to see two great mad people compete. The one who beat me in that fight, and then Ryan and try to see a good match. And let's go back to the future.
All right. Yep. All right. And Mr. Kevin, looks like you're in a dark, secluded area somewhere in a bunker somewhere. How's the bunker treating you right now?
It's good, man. Glad to be here and excited for this match.
All right. And then someone who has not graced our community in a while. She's been gone, but now she's back, raring to go, raring to jump back into this thing, and it is fantastic to have her. Miss Andrea, how are you doing? It's good to see you.
I'm doing very well. I'm so excited for this match, and I can't wait. These two are really good debaters, so let's see what's going to happen.
All right, we shall do that indeed. Okay, so if you're new to the Nerd Fight game, we're going to have some rounds here. We're going to have some questions posed to these two gentlemen, and they've got some answers to these questions, and they're going to have a certain amount of time frame to do so. They're going to have their opening 90 seconds to give us kind of their answer to their question. Then they're going to have a 5-minute time to battle it out, duke it out. If in that 5 minutes they get too rambunctious, I can give them a 20-second timeout to put them in their corners so they can get their wet towels on the back of their head, chill out a little bit, and then come back fresh, refreshed with their ideas. And then they've got their 60-second closer. Now, in these 4 rounds, should we use them, we've got an extra minute. If they want to use that extra minute in their 90 seconds or their 60-second closing, they can do so. I only ask that they let us know right before they use it. before they begin their closing or their opening. And then, of course, we've got there's something I'm forgetting right now, but I'm sure I'll get to it eventually. Oh, yes, that's right. This is what it is. If they choose not to use all of their time, please let us know by saying, and I concede the rest of my time. So we're not staring at each other, even though I know we all got beautiful eyes and just love each other so much. All right. We're going to jump right into our first, and I believe this strength, the Back to the Future averse, I believe this strength was eeny, meeny, miny, mo. It was Mr. Peck, right?
Yes, even though you're pointing the wrong way.
Oh, that's right. I'm right. I'm pointing over here, Mr. Peck, right there. Left and right, who knows? Up is down, black is white, night is day. All right, Mr. Peck, you are going to give us your first answer to the question here. So your 90 seconds will begin when you start talking. But first, I got to let people know what you're going to answer. And there's been a whole lot of miniseries, a whole lot of series out there on all these streaming services, and the streaming wars have just begun, especially since everybody's locked down and can't go see anything else anywhere else. They got to have streaming services to follow up on. So Netflix, very popular one. Netflix needs a new original one, a new original series. And the Back to the Future franchise has had those 3 films. We can count the game if you want, but it needs some more. It needs something else. So Netflix has decided they're going to do a series based off the Back to the Future universe. But they don't know what timeline in the Back to the Future trilogy that they're going to utilize. And so they've got these 2 distinguished gentlemen to come pitch them. Which timeline in the Back to the Future universe should have its own Netflix series? And Mr. Peck, your 90 seconds begins as soon as you start talking.
The thing about Back to the Future is this. Basically brings you all new adventures, brand new possibilities when the future surrounds us. So for me, my answer for this question is this. In the year 2015, not this 2015, but the 2015 in the future where we have flying cars. Yeah, I know, it's basically flying cars around over here. But here's some prime examples what I'm going to put to do with this series based on this timeline. Number 1, you don't have to put maybe a Marty McFly or any McFly relative with it. What you can do is going to be based on the casual person around here around 2015. Yes, it does have bring a lot of things. From interesting facts right here in my future has, well, my timeline, I should per se, which is some interesting based on this awesome newspaper I'm reading is this. They might have cholesterol, might cure cancer. They have basically invisible remote control when you're walking your dog if you don't have anything else along with it. It has basically something real life holographic, better versions of that. Basically better than holographic we're having right now. It's basically a future with no problems in sight. It's basically you can go to a timeline, but basically you can surf for Vietnam, you can surf for any around the city, even beyond Hell Valley. And that's the reason why I'm picking the year 2015 as my selection, and I can see the rest of my time, Mr. Spaceman.
All right, conceding those 5 seconds. Good work, sir. All right, Mr. Ryan, what have you got? What timeline are you searching for? What would make the best Netflix series? Your 90 seconds begins when you begin talking, sir.
Back to the Future is a great trilogy. There's no question about it. They've gone to different timelines. They've, met, other characters or different iterations of the characters that are already established in the first film. But the timeline I'm specifically talking about that I think should get its own series. And people are going to think this is out of left field, but hear me out. Yeah, I know it's hard to make a TV series in the genre. I know it's a bit tough, but 2015, even if it is in the Back to the Future universe and things going on in the world right now, it's a little bit tough, a little bit challenging. But if you go all the way back to the olden times, I'm talking about a Western, 1885. Imagine someone ends up as a blacksmith in the old West, like Doc says. Or other characters in the West, you could potentially cross paths with other historical figures that that were around during the 1800s, maybe the 1885s, maybe, or other things like that nature. But there are a few other reasons why I think the timeline of 1885 would make a good TV series, but I'm going to concede the rest of my time, and I will get into those reasons in the argument.
All right, and you can see the rest of his time. Whew. And we'll find out what else in those arguments in this 5 minutes. Gentlemen, you've got 5 minutes. You're going to let us know what's going on, why we should choose your timelines as soon as the first person starts speaking.
All right. Here's your first problem at the bat with it. You said you don't have sort of Western TV shows. Well, we have Westworld with that, and so sort of have Futuristic right here. But even before that, we got Brusco County Jr. with Bruce Campbell. We already had some Western TV shows with some technical aspects to it, and yours is an okay idea, though. It's something we have seen before with your show, though, that's set in the Old West in 1885. Yeah, we crowd with people with notorious bad guys around the West, though, but it's something we have seen before with it. With Minds, though, in 2015, the different version of 2015, it brings a little futuristic that maybe our current timeline right here doesn't have what this 2015 has. It basically have, I worry, better technology, better places you can go, real hoverboards, and basically sort of like find a little mellow, relaxing time along with it. And with my series that comes with it, it brings a little bit more of mellowness right here. And Branson, if you get to a situation, it's like even you could argue Riff and his gang, it doesn't have to be like a McFly character. It basically sort of like how to get through skills right here around my. And I don't see yours with 1885 in set in the Old West. It's something we have sort of seen before with other shows that are like that.
Yeah, that I mean, I'll give you that. That's true. We've seen similar shows like this, but with this one in 1885, when you whether it's the ancestors of characters that have already been established, whether it's the Marty McFlys of the world, the Doc Emmett Browns of the world, the Clara Claytons of the world, whatever. At least in this timeline, you're not going to mess up anything that's like going to affect the 2015 timeline. Like when Doc went to 2015, he's like, "Hey, your kids are all screwed up. Now you got to fix it." Well, in 1885, you don't have to worry about that problem because there are no flying cars. You don't have to worry about cops getting on your tail, and I mean, if you're on a hoverboard and you're going too fast, you're not going to get pulled over for that sort of stuff. So with 1885, you can cross paths with historical figures. You can cross paths with, what is it, other ancestors of the McFly family or the Von Braun family, like Doc Brown says. Like before we were the Doc Browns, we had the Von Brauns. You had, or ancestors of that nature, and it's not going to mess with the overall timeline. 2015, if somebody finds that almanac or an almanac that's similar to that one, they're going to, fudge up the timeline and mess up everything for everybody. And it's going to be like, oh man, we got to get Doc and Marty back. They're the only people who can fix this. What are we going to do? I mean, just because we have flying cars doesn't necessarily mean that all flying cars can travel to and back and through time. Only, Doc and Marty and, maybe another person could do it. But with Doc having his powered train and runs on steam, he can travel to 1885 and backwards or beyond that. It doesn't matter. And you can have a lot of fun with that, especially because Doc has Clara and they have the two kids, Jules and Vern. Who'd have thought he would name him after a classic author? But hey, you can mess with that a little bit and see what the kids are doing. What happens if the kids go to 1885? What's their reaction going to be? What do they think about all this stuff? What else is going to happen if they move forward through the 1800s or maybe backwards into the 1800s? And plus, people may think that Clint Eastwood is a stupid name, but when you hear other names that come through town, maybe they won't sound as stupid as like Griff says. What kind of a stupid name is that, or what have you? And you can have some funny jokes and like throwing little liners in there about historical events in there too.
Well, the thing about first off, you said that if you had Jules of Verne right here and go further right here, you didn't basically say like, guys, in your time right here, but when they get into Maya in 2015, though, is that was basically what we're trying to do. I'm not sort of like saying like you mess up the time right here. I'm not talking about what sort of the plot, what happened in Back to the Future 2. The question is, what specific time right here could be a fun as a series? I'm not going to sort of delve into that, what happens like Back to the Future 2 with all Biff Stoltz, all that stuff, future messed up. I'm just specifically in that timeline. When my timeline presented the potential of the show is, it will brings a little fanciness right here. Like, what if we go to a high? What if we go to a high school based around futuristic? Is it supposed to be same rules, or might have robots right here, or even AI special intelligence along with it? Even basically sporting events. Like if we're gonna see weird sporting events right here, I don't know, real physical football or basically real thing with baseball along with it. There are many possibilities with this show. What I'm proposing right here in 2015, though, with yours with 1885, they basically have more ideas, but. Even you mentioned around like basically the steampunk with the time machine though, with the train though, it might take a little longer than that. It had to do with 1885 along with it. And basically some instances, even back right here, it might be some instances, even though I love it personally. It might, if you want to make a series based on LeBron Bronze, it might come as a little bit done. But mine is going to be a brand new characters right here. Even this is Midge, like basically with the Tanner family along with it. Mine will be a brand new character throughout the series. It have bigger potential. What am I proposing in my 2015 timeline along with it?
Time. Ooh, nice. You said timeline right when I said time. All right. That was your 5 minutes, gentlemen. Interesting outcome so far. All right. You got your 60 seconds. Ryan, since Jonathan started, you're going to go first. Your 60 seconds will begin as soon as you start talking.
All right. Your idea for 2015, yeah, it's fun. But you know what? You may have a few other shows that may take place in the Old West or just have West in the title. Westworld, give me a break. It's more about androids and actually being in the Wild West. But anyway, with the timeline that should get its own series. With regard to 1885, once again, a lot of fun interactions with the ancestors of classic characters, whether it be with the McFlys, the Browns, the Griffs, the Tannins, the Mayors, the Governors, the Stricklands of the world, whatever. You can also have other historical figures come through town. I mean, if it can work, I mean, if the young adventures of a young Indiana Jones can meet up with 50 million historical figures, that would never happen in the Indiana Jones movie timeline, then I think Back to the Future can take some creative liberties just like he did with Sean Patrick Flannery. So with this, it could be a lot of fun with the steam-powered time machine that Doc has. You can have a lot of fun with that. And it wouldn't mess up anything in the overall timeline. And it would just be a good family fun adventure that takes place in the Old West. Some people like a good old-fashioned Western. With yours, we've been there and done
Time.
that.
All right. Coming right at the right at the time. Okay. Mr. Peck, your turn. Your 60 starts when you do, sir.
All right. The one thing you just said though, I find like it's kind of like the same thing with yours though, but here's my manner difference based on that. Mine will basically brand new characters along with it. Yours is basically sort of like we kind of seen these characters right here. We kind of seen that before. With my future though, it basically doesn't change anything beyond that though. What my pitching, what my show is basically what you do around the future, around the timeline. It just basically when you're going to do around that point though is more laid back approach. It's just non-potential problems along with it. You dealt with some struggles right here, of course, but you need to bring a little bit more fun and a little upper around the show like this. In a time we've been a little down right here, I'm pitching a show that really lift up your spirits along with it, potential bigger future by watching a show on Netflix and basically along with it. And that's the reason I'm pitching the year 2015, the future 2015, as potential for this series right here. With yours with 1885, yeah, this might be a fun Western thing. Like I said, we've seen that before or done better.
Time. Whoo! All right, coming right in. All right, we've heard these two timelines. You know, I can't even choose. Both sound intriguing to me. The good thing about this, I don't have to choose. We got our Netflix execs right up there, and they're going to choose which gentleman gets his timeline series, who gets their point. We're going to start it off with Mr. Diaz. Mr. Diaz, what say you?
So this was tough, and it came down to the question as to what timeline would be great for Netflix Back to the Future. And I think by the slanted margin, Jonathan pulled off an example. I think Ryan did a great job. I think he kind of took a bullet to the leg when he admitted that, yes, Western been done before, and I think that kind of defeated a lot of arguments. Jonathan, I wish you would have brought up that timeline would have also been affected. And Western to argue back against the future because, with Doc Brown, him being shot, then he would exist in the other timeline. That example. But I think Jonathan just gave example of what the future will look like, and in the end, by the slight margin, we go with Jonathan. Right.
All right, so that's 1 point for Jonathan. Mr. Kevin, what say you?
I do like I like them both. The 2015 timeline without going with the new characters is super interesting. The futuristic football, baseball, I really like that. Going away from Hill Valley and away from the McFlys, all that. But I like how Ryan came back and retorted with, Westworld isn't an old Western show. And you could have the jokes, the one-liner style jokes. I feel like that's a Netflix style thing. Running into the historical figures, you could kind of chain that into each episode. So my point's going to go to Ryan.
All right, which we got 1 point for Jonathan, 1 point for Ryan. So, Andrea, right, your first show back, you get to be a tiebreaker right off the bat. All right, so it's in your
Oh
hands,
boy.
dear. What you think?
Okay. I'm actually literally quite torn because on the one hand, what Jonathan was saying is all about the possibilities of a Back to the Future 2015 timeline, which in itself is quite interesting. But it's also interesting to see the ancestry of the characters of the show, which Ryan specifically emphasized in his argument. But whew, this is tough. Uh, but I think I'm gonna have to go with Jonathan on this instance, just because I think he gave me a lot more on what he plans to do within the show, and he also uh, gave a lot of maybe interesting plot points. So I'm gonna have to go to give my point to Jonathan for the first round. But this was really tough.
All right, yes. These two guys are no stranger to the game and always got creative juices going and great ideas. Demonstrated both well. Jonathan, though, gets this point, our first point of the match. All right, but have no fear, Ryan. You know the gig, you know the game. There's always the next question. And this question is in the world of Pixar. Now, we've seen a lot of Pixar movies. There's a lot of fantastic. Pixar pretty much means quality in today's movie field. So, what I wanted, though, was something a little bit different. I wanted something a little bit different. I wanted a literary character, a classic literary character, and I wanted a Pixar-style animated feature based upon this literary character. So, sent them both to the library, and they both had to pick a literary character that they want to see, that classic Pixar-style animated feature film for this literary character. And then Ryan, we're going to start with you this time since we started with Jonathan last time.
Right. So this one is could also serve as a potential. It could be its own film. Absolutely, this can be its own film, 100%. But it also could be a possible next movie in the Inside Out universe. More specifically, I'm talking about Pip from the book Great Expectations by the one and only Charles Dickens. Yes, that Pip from that book. It can have good. You can get good life lessons out of it. He goes from being a, little boy, not really sure where he comes from, what his purpose is in life, where he's going to go, blah blah blah. And then you can play off similar themes from the movie Inside Out. And I got plenty of ideas for who would be in the voice cast and a few other places you could potentially go with this. But for now, I'll get into that during the argument. For now, I'm going to say Pip from Great Expectations by Charles Dickens, and I will concede the rest of my time.
All right. Brought us Pip from Great Expectations and then conceded the rest of the time for the opening, which means we get to hear who Mr. Peck, not Mr. Pip, Mr. Peck chose. So, Mr. Peck, as soon as you're ready, sir, your time will start.
All right. My choice will be Ryan mentioned this author back in our first round, Mr. Jules Verne, and the character I picked from the great author Jules Verne is Phineas Fogg. If it doesn't know who Phineas Fogg is one of the lead characters from Around the World in 80 Days. And the reason why I picked this character because we have seen like past adaptations amazing. Around the World 8 Days, some of it was mainly cartooned, all that stuff. Even one example is the Jackie Chan movie, all of it, and even one of them got nominated for Best Picture. I don't know when back in the 50s, but we never seen like basically sort of not only a real adaptation based on the book, but also sort of like we sort of never see the full scope of when the book is doing it. When the book it says is sort of a trialogue based on go to places and countries and different cultures along with it. And the reason why I picked Phineas Fogg along with it because he has a philosophy in life that never worried about things which are beyond his control, but leave no stone unturned along with it if they are. one of the great things about Pixar along with it is basically sort of like beyond the unexpected. He has a balanced follow and not to just be a progress of it, also his monogamy, which is two that manifests itself into psychology. Also, I pick an actor who would be voicing this character, and I pick Mr. Sir Hugh Laurie from House himself, the voice Phineas Fogg, and that's the reason I picked Phineas Fogg as a character. He had many more potentials right here. Mine is basically sort of a original idea, even though it's based off a book along with it, so that would be my choice.
Even cast it now. Whew. Interesting. We got the Fog versus the Pip. This will be an interesting 5 minutes battle to see which character is going to come out on top. All right, gentlemen, your 5 minutes begin as soon as somebody starts.
Well, with this, with my choice of Pip, Great Expectations, yes, like a lot of books, they've had their own movie or TV show adaptations over the years, yes, but with this one, we haven't seen a really good Great Expectations adaptation in at least in my opinion, in a very long time. The last time we got it cinematically is, I believe, in the 90s with Gwyneth Paltrow and Ethan Hawke. What the heck was that? Nobody knows what was going on, and neither do I. The trailer made me like, what is this? But anyway, that being said, Pip from Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. One of the things that Pixar does so well is they not only tug at your heartstrings, but they give you really good and memorable characters. And that's what you can do with Pip from Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. You got good life lessons out of it. You can have plenty of levity with it as well, depending on who you get to write it out and whatnot. You can play off some similar themes from Inside Out by having the different emotions that Pip said from when he's a child to a teenager to an adult. How much fun you can have with that? It's what do you call it? The sky is virtually the limit. And the voice cast for this specifically would include Eric Tavita as the voice of Pip, Robert Taylor, a.k.a. Longmire, as Joe Gargery, Emily Blunt as Mrs. Joe Gargery. You got Michael Caine as Mr. Pumblechook, Kate Blanchett as Mrs. Havisham, and the Hundred's own Octavia, Marie Avgeropoulos as the voice of Estella. If that's not a great voice cast to give you a great adaptation of Great Expectations by Charles Dickens with Pip as the center of it, because it's focusing around his character, I don't know what will.
Well, first off, a very good first cast, right? And even I will admit that was a very good first cast. But here's your main drawback, and I think you really shot yourself in the hook based on the opening, though. You said in the opening that sort of a connection to Inside Out, which here's your first problem. You pitching that story right here, and along with the sort of an Inside Out sequel along with it. And also another thing, one about the Great Expectation and Pip as a character, though, and the Great Expectation, I think it could have worked well again, but the problem is I don't think it works well with animated. I think you could do basically live action, and even though I don't think Pixar was basically going to do sort of that story along with it. But the one thing I will agree with you on about Pixar as a whole, they really do tug to the heartstring, and it also brings great characters along with it. With mine, though, pitch with Phineas Fogg along with it, because he doesn't sort of draw between useful confrontations along with it. He has a great smarts and theories along with it. He basically sort of writes in his journal and basically has a great assistance around the trip, made with Passport 2. And also he brings like not in for software emotion, it brings a little complexity to it when he wants to do. He doesn't want to do the same for money or fame with it. He's between love, the joy of it. That's the reason brings the energy to it right here. When he goes travel on the road, he doesn't bother to find out what is a more possible source of a tourist interesting. He passes through right here. Surprising everyone having a conversation with Fogg regards the same place at the same time. He will know a lot about them though, and brings a charming character along with that. He brings very much a smart knowledge what he can do. Based on what I'm pitching, my Pixar film will be with my character with Phineas Fogg though. It will bring some beautiful color animation right here based on the places he will go and the courageousness and the underdogness along with it. That's the reason why I pick his character. With Pip with the Great Expectations though, I let the story itself. I read it back in middle school along with it. It's a very good story, but I think maybe it's not sort of the best idea to use that story for animated form along with it. With mine with Around the World in 8 Days, he has some sort of bigger potential on when the live action version could have done. Maybe put a little bit more to that, playing like animated for to bring on the cute designs themselves and cultures along with it. That's the reason Phineas Fogg might be potential, but not only a great character right here, but a great potential, great film in Pixar's resume.
Well, with yours and Around the World in 8 Days, yes. Could that be a family fun adventure? Yeah, but then again, not too long ago, they attempted to do it. Granted, it was
1 minute.
not animation-wise. We saw what happened with that. I don't even know who I think it was Steve Coogan and Jackie Chan. Did that work out for him? No! That movie got panned big time. Now, I'm saying, with Great Expectations, it could be its own film, 100%, or it could be like a pseudo kind of spin-off or a sequel to Inside Out. You can have the emotions in Pip's head from beginning to teenagehood to adulthood. You can do it that way, or you can just make a straight-up animation focusing on the story of Pip and his life, but not necessarily the voices in his head. It doesn't have to be an Inside Out spin-off or sequel. It could be its own thing. Now, you may be thinking, well, how are you going to do Great Expectations? Because that movie the book gets dark in certain places. Well, this is the thing about Hollywood. They love to take a story, a book, and adapt it in their own way and take creative liberties with it. You can definitely do that with Pixar. There are plenty of ways to do it, plenty of ways to get around. You can take some of the darker aspects of the story out, put some lighter stuff in, mix in some humor, a little bit of levity, have a great story with great characters, and you have a great voice cast in my particular film.
Time. All right. Whew. Interesting. Couple of good arguments here. But we're going to wrap it up with our 60 seconds, and we're going to start with you, Mr. Peck. So your 60 begins as soon as you start talking, sir.
My thing with Phineas Fogg is basically this right there. He basically, well, the one thing you pointed out there, and I think I will it does bring darker, but that's you prove my point that the Great Expectation doesn't need to be animated. It's kind of dark and complex of a story along with it. The brainstorm even with animated form though. Yeah. But mine's though, it brings a sort of a light romp. Yes, we bring some tension right here, but at the same time, it brings like the journey aspect. Some of the best Pixar films involve journeys along with it, not only characters' journeys along with it. When Phineas Fogg though, it brings a little bit more globetrotting aspects to it. It brings like a lot about things, even a character that we never seen, basically maybe past film versions or TV movies about Phineas Fogg with it. That will be a good choice for a Pixar film. It doesn't sort of need to connect to anything or be a franchise of it. It'd be on standalone story, great source material along with it. I think the potential would be a big screen movie and IMAX.
Time. All right. Oh, and throwing a little IMAX in there. Okay. All right. So we heard Mr. Peck's choice, his final argument. Now we got Ryan. Ryan, tell us why yours needs that feature as soon as you're ready.
Which classic literary character should get a Pixar-style animated feature? Great Expectations is a great choice. Why? Because any man, woman, or child can learn something from this and get something out of it. Not only can Pixar tug at your heartstrings, but they bring you memorable characters, and they can do that by adapting Great Expectations in a Pixar-style animated film. And plus, with the voice cast of Aaron Tveit, Robert Taylor, Emily Blunt, Michael Caine, Kate Blanchett, Marie Avgeropoulos. I mean, you got a well-rounded cast of film and TV stars that can come together and really bring something special to the big screen in a Pixar animated feature. Yes, Great Expectations has its dark spots, but you know what? You can take out those dark spots. You can tweak the story a little bit to make sure it fits, your audience, your target demographic, however you want to do it. The bottom line is you get incredible, good life lessons along with some levity and memorable characters. With Around the World in 80 Days, you're just going to get a family fun adventure, but we've been there and done that already.
Time. All right, coming right at it. Whew. Okay. Hope you guys took some copious notes up there, our judges. All right, because they're bringing some, classics back and trying to revamp them, try to get them into a Pixar-style film. We're going to start with Mr. Kevin. Mr. Kevin, who swayed you the most, sir?
This was a tough one. I like both ideas. Jonathan brought up some good points. I really like Hugh Laurie, so that was a winner for me. The philosophy that don't leave any stone unturned, that is Phineas Fogg in a sentence, I guess. But when you said it, that you don't see how it could connect to Inside Out, Ryan really came back with a strong argument for that. Saying how it could be adapted in a way, creative liberties, childhood to teen to adult. And we could see Pip from Great Expectations, and even laying out that voice cast. I think that's the one I'm going to go with. So I chose Ryan.
All right, first point to Ryan. Okay, we're gonna jump over to Miss Andrea. What do you think? Who gets your point and why?
I'm gonna give my point to Ryan too. I agree with uh, my fellow judge here when he said that when it comes to Pixar can take creative liberties with the story. Um, I also think that Ryan has like a complete cast almost with his or he has an idea of which people he wants to cast for the Great Expectations and the Pixar. And also, what really got me most of all with Ryan's argument is that Pixar is an animation studio wherein um all forms of life can get something out of it. Man, women, children can get something out of Pixar. So um, that's the point that really solidified my point for Ryan.
All right, so we are now officially tied because that point going to Ryan. So Jonathan got one, Ryan got one. Now, Mr. Diaz, I don't want to leave you out in the cold here. Who would have gotten yours?
So it was a really good round, and it came down to Ryan. I think he got my point well because he laid out the voice cast. Honestly, I went the way I gave up more about the film itself beside the character, like the voice cast, the idea of like different world, the animation format, everything. And maybe attack Ryan more on the glad that he does have a lot of big, well-known voice actors in his cast, but just that Kevin Kline and Taylor Spencer, that other people never even heard of. I just was waiting for that, but Ryan just hit you hard and hard. And despite also one notice, there was a great expectation from 2012 looked up because I had, but still Ryan won the point in the end. It was a good argument. It was close, but Ryan just presented the film that I would like to see despite the dark story. So, right.
All right. All right. So that means we definitely go into the 4, which means we go into the 3. We're taking out of the literary world. And we're going to go to a galaxy far, far away. All right. Yes, that's it. So we're going to go to the world of Star Wars. And I'm going to ask, in these troubling times out there in the world, everybody needs a best friend. Everybody needs a ride or die. Somebody they can roll with, they can tell all their secrets to, they can confide in, they look to advice, hold them when they cry, whatever you do with a best friend. But I want to know which best friend you're going to choose from all the supporting characters in the Star Wars universe. Who would make that best friend for you? Who would be that ride or die for you? And since we started with Ryan last time, I'm going to start with Jonathan again. So, Mr. Peck, who's your best friend from that Star Wars universe? Your 90 seconds begins as soon as you do, sir.
For me, as soon as I hear this question, it's just like, this is no brainer. And mine's basically the slam dunk pick right here, and it's not even close to me. Pick is Chewbacca himself, Chewie himself. And basically, I don't get more into details, but I will do anyway. When the Force brings someone down, we need someone to basically help us out. Chewie knows helping others is the right thing to do, and you said yourself in the opening. Great wingman along with it. He's basically unites himself with other people right here, including Han Solo, including Luke Skywalker, any other characters interacting with Chewbacca. He's basically cross paths with anyone else, and basically some situation with young and old along with it. Basically, he was always going to be your back. He will always going to be on your side, no matter how outrageous the situation will get. He will give you free hugs if you feel down or depressed along with it. He's basically the walking paper you needed in a time of crisis right now. An ultimate best friend. This will be my choice of a character, Chewbacca, and I'll concede the rest of my time.
All right. Free hugs, baby. Free hugs. Okay. So we've got the mighty Chewbacca. All right. So, Ryan, You gotta choose a character who's gonna be your buddy, your best friend. Who's that gonna be? Your time begins when you do.
So when it comes to supporting characters, there are a number of choices you can make and a number of choices you could pick or whatever or what have you. But I'm actually going a little bit deeper with this one. I'm going with somebody who's not only really, really smart, but just can give you the right piece of advice at the right place at the right time. Someone who will always have your back no matter what the situation may be. Specifically, I'm going way back to the prequel days. I'm talking the best prequel we ever got, at least in my opinion. Rogue One, a Star Wars story, and I'm going with Chirrut Imwe. I'm one with the Force is with me. I'm one with the Force is with me. Yes, that is what we need. That is what we want. That is what every single person in this world needs right now, Jack. He is strong with the Force. He's one of the Guardians of the Wills from Jeddah, one of the best places ever in the Star Wars galaxy before it was unfortunately destroyed by those idiots known as the Empire. So he would know not only a lot about the Force, because the Force surrounds us and binds us, but he has other techniques that can help you with any situation, give you a best piece of advice. I'm not sure where you can go wrong with this character because you can't go wrong, period. End of story. And at the end of this, I'm going to concede the rest of my time.
All right. So we've got him wanting to be one with the Force and the Force with him. Whew. This will be interesting. I'm ready for this battle. This will be exciting. Your 5 minutes, both of you. All right. As soon as somebody starts talking, you guys battle it out.
All right. Here's my thing with Chin Airway right here. He is a very good character, and I like his presence around with it. But the question itself is basically who I sort of hang around will be sort of be nice with as a friend, though. Yeah, he will give you advice along with it. It basically saying, I'm one of the Force with me. But it's as someone to be sort of the most support group along with it. I don't think he will be sort of the first person you know. When what I point out with Chewbacca, though, is basically opens up with people's ideas and problems along with it, and he's understandable. Yeah, you might not understand what he says, but he's based on his facial expressions along with it. He's understandable. He's surprisingly flexible. Chewbacca will willing to listen some new friend along with it, and basically will help out. He will follow the lead. For example, if a lead for Captain Padawans, which happened on episode Clone Wars, where Ahsoka and a bunch of younglings right here, started by Tanchi, by hunting them down for sport along with it. Simply just captured by Chewbacca and encountered them. He knew had to work together to survive, and he and Ahsoka learned quickly to count each other along with it. Not only be trusted on emotional side, but trust on a battlefield along with it, though. And basically, he will always have your back. Choose to devote to anyone else if we be friends with. He will be understanding, no matter how much we complain about annoyance of C-3PO. Basically, at least he's cared about it along with it. Even cover out some parts of like, hey, you can't do that to my friend like that. Basically, he cares about everyone along with it. He cares about his friends. He cares about his family. Even some people he just met right here. At least he's caring along with it. With Cherry, he's a good motivational, but I don't think he will be sort of a good friend with it if you need emotional support along with it.
I mean, yeah, sure. You can bring up the character, you can bring up fair points on, that's all well and good. But let's talk about this. First of all, Chewie's like what, 7, 8 feet tall. He's a giant walking carpet that needs to get out of your way when you're walking anywhere. So what if he's good with a crossbow? So what if he can pick a guy up who's 500 pounds and throw him across the room? It's not always about bronze. It's not always about being good with a crossbow.
I'm not talking about that.
Okay, but I'm just saying, like, I mean, and he growls like a dog. No one's going to understand what he's saying unless you have an interpreter with you like C-3PO. I'm not going to understand what Chewie's saying because everything he says is the same thing unless he's laughing at you when Han turns around and says, laugh it up, fuzzball. But you didn't see us alone in the South Passage. I mean, with Chirrut Imwe, you're going to understand every single word he's saying to you. It doesn't matter if he can see or not. He's got a great-looking cane. He can lay the smack down on anyone's candy ass with that cane. He can give you the best advice. And it doesn't have to necessarily be your wingman or whatever. He could just be your partner, your best friend, whatever. He can help you out in any situation, whether you're going into a battle or whether you're struggling with finding your purpose in the universe. He will be there to pick you up when you are at your most vulnerable and you are down in the dumps. With Chewie, all he's going to do is and, use his crossbow, be the walking carpet that Leia says, get this walking carpet out of my way. I mean, you need like 1 or 2 interpreters to understand what that character is saying. With Chirrut Imwe, he knows what's up. He knows the 411. He's one of the guardians of the Wills. He can teach you the ways of Jeddah. Jedha and all the other planets and environments of the Force and teach you what the Force is. That doesn't necessarily have to apply to a Jedi or a Sith Lord. It can apply to everybody in general because that's what the Force is. It combines every element and every fiber of every being in the entire galaxy, and it surrounds us and binds us together. With Chewie, what are you going to do? You're going to go on a couple of missions with him, and he might help you once in a blue moon when you can actually understand him. If you're cohesive or drunk, you're going to be like, what does that mean? What does that mean? It doesn't make sense. Chirrut Imwe, he knows what's up. That's why his character would work better, respectively, over Chewbacca. I can't listen to that for more than 2 seconds.
Well, okay, all right. First off, some people understand looking right here, though, and I'm just gonna take out as like, oh, it's too tall. It's 7 feet tall, and the walking cover. It's like, so I hang out with people that are more tall than me, along with it. I hang out with people more than 7 foot tall with me. So basically, I consider as friends. Well, here's my point. Here's my things with Cheer Airway, though. You mentioned right here is sort of teachings right here based on Jedi Sith right here. Basically, Jedi Masters or Sith Lord. It depends which region you want to go with. It basically sort of some philosophies right here, and even some instances not considered as a friend and companion. With mine, though, it doesn't matter. Basically, you understand him or not. At least someone will be your friend and support with it, and be the emotional support group along with it. He was basically helping out with his friends, even help people who really doesn't even know, brings it up together. He's basically the glue to people around him. What I'm meant by that, basically a glue that brings any situation together along with it. That's the reason why I picked Chewbacca as not only a great choice experiment, but a good judge of a character along with it. He will bring someone, he's not force sensitive, but he at least brings the real force in it, his true friendship.
Time. All right. Whew. Interesting. A battle I never thought I'd see. Chirrut versus Chewie. Oh, man. Okay. Whew. All right. Now we got to plead these final cases here. So, Ryan, we're going to start with you. And your 60 begins when you do, sir.
You picked the safe choice. You went with the safe choice. You didn't pick a supporting character that maybe not a lot of people know about. Maybe not a lot of people give a particular character some love. Well, guess what? You should give love to Chirrut Imwe because he is one with the Force is with him. And not only that, he is one of the guardians of the wills on Jedha. He can teach you all the ways of the Force from every single corner of the galaxy, whether it be Jedi, Sith, non-Sith, Grey Jedi, non-Jedi, non-Sith, what have you. He will be with you through thick and thin. Chewbacca, you need an interpreter. Chewbacca, everybody knows who Chewie is, but not enough people know who Chirrut Imwe is, which is why he is the best supporting character who would be your best friend. He is the best choice in this particular case. Not only will he teach you the ways of the Force, he can teach you techniques to help you with any situation, whether you're in battle, whether you're going through a tough time in your life, whether you've lost a loved one, whether you're going through school, whether you're going to the Jedi Academy, or just trying to find a good job for yourself on a planet. He will be with you through thick and thin no matter what.
Time.
Anyway, is the right choice.
Time. All right. Whew. Whew. Got caught up with my mic. All right. We go. We got Chirrut and all we need to know about him. So now let's hear this final about Chewbacca. Mr. Peck, your 60 begins when you do.
I will use my 1 minute extension.
And you're going to use that 1 minute extension. All right. So your 2 minutes begins as soon as you do.
You said basically sort of like mine's a safe choice along with it. And also you pointed out is basically he will teach you anything. Yeah, of course. Chiro may be a great teacher, but that doesn't mean I don't consider him as a great friend and a support system you need him. He'll be a great teacher, teach you about these along with the Force with me, and I agree with you. And but at the same time, I might not use him as a friend along with it. Well, the reason why I picked Chewbacca, though, you might argue, oh, it's a safe choice along with it. But at the same time, he will really bring emotional. Basically, it's kind of like with situations in real life, though. You need someone at least to talk about even most emotional problems in real life. It basically just need a good supporting system with it. I put out some examples with Chewie along with it. He was open to any friend's ideas and problems along with it. Even about how extreme it gets, he was always be there 100%. He was willing to listen what his friends had to say before anything else. You would basically your support group and your rock along with it. He follows the lead that everyone else
1 minute.
the rebels, Padawan way before that, when even the Resistance along with it. He will basically, everybody's there. He was extremely close right here. He's basically the glue of his group of friends along with it. What I mean by is the glue is Sora brings the room together, preventing half the system can fall apart and be friendly with it. That's the reason why I put Chewbacca as my choice, because he knows to do what the right thing is. He knows what to do, be supportive along with it. Especially, he's blind himself. Well, not blind himself, but it's sort of like, even you argue you might not understand it, but based on facial perspective, he at least it be understandable though. He at least understands when actually have trouble with it. That's the reason Chewbacca has a feeling that they were good friends to have, even though they were just so much stronger than he was right here. That's the reason you need a friend with Chewbacca, and that's the reason why I picked him as a great friend.
All right, time now. Whew. Okay, we've heard just about everything we can about these two characters. Two very different characters, but two very good explanations or reasons why they would be your best friend. So, Andrea, we're going to start with you. Which one of these characters you going to choose? Who's going to ride or die with you?
Okay. If I live in a Star Wars universe and I was looking for a best friend, this is how I'm setting this. I think I would have to go with Ryan on this one. If I'm living in so I'm giving Ryan my point, because if for example, I was looking for a best friend and I'm living in a Star Wars universe, I'd like somebody who first I can understand, second, who can fight beside me, and number 3, who can teach me the ways of the Force. And finally, who can also give you an advice if you need it, without being, and also be helpful. Not that they're not both helpful, which they are, but in this case, I think when I put myself in that particular environment, I think I would have to go with Ryan's answer and pick Chirrut as a best friend if I had to.
All right, so we got our first point for Ryan. Okay, Mr. Diaz, who you choosing and why, sir?
Oh, God. Two really good choices. Just by, I think Sharon would get on my nerve after whatever his I am wondering to watch me think over and over. Yeah. I mean, but I think Jonathan got used not a little example, even though I'm not sure we were able to use TV show outside the movie, but still I think Shuri is, by his language, Jonathan gave me a good picture of our best friend and emotional support and everything. So I kind of do go into tiebreaking. I join with Jonathan.
All right, so we got 1 point for Ryan, 1 point for Jonathan. So, Mr. Kevin, you are the tiebreaker on this one, sir. Who's going to be your best friend? Who's getting your point and why?
All right. I kind of approached this similarly to Andrea. I've kind of put myself in a Star Wars universe. But Jonathan, he made some really good points about how Chewbacca is proven as far as Han. We saw it in Solo all the way throughout the original trilogy. And Chewie is devoted, even carrying around C-3PO's annoying self. Chirrut, I mean, yes, he is a good teacher, but Jonathan made a good response in his closing about great teacher doesn't always make a great friend. So I have to give this one to Jonathan.
All right. Oh, and the heartbreak on Ryan's face is palpable. That's okay. That's okay. Chirrut is still a good guy. He's still an excellent teacher.
Still a good guy, even though I think as a wingman, it probably would have worked.
As a wingman, he probably would have worked.
I would say that, though, I do like Chirrut.
Of course, we all like Chirrut.
He was a wingman.
Chirrut's fantastic.
Obi-Wan.
And there are plenty of people who speak Chewie woke, so.
True.
Chirrut is blind, and how he would know which one would be good.
Oh no! All right. So we've got our second point for Jonathan. Second point for Jonathan. So this means we're do or die here. But doing and dying is the name of this game right here at the end. It's time to pull out the bad, the wickedness, the evil inside these two competitors. Because with this one, I need something specific. I want to hear how bad you're going to be. All right? We're going to go to the realm of James Bond. And I want to hear what's going to be your villain name. What are you going to call your bad self? And how are you going to take Bond out? I want a plan. I want a plan that's going to work. I want Bond out of here. And it starts with how cool your name is. So we started with Jonathan last time. We're going to start with Ryan this time. Ryan, what's that villain's name? What's your villain name? And what's your evil scheme? Your time begins as soon as you do.
Man. All right, so you have creative power. You want to create a villain. You want to put this villain on the map by killing off our boy, Agent 007, who works for Her Majesty's Secret Service, right? Well, there's a way to do it. There's a character out there, right? His name is William Michael Douglas. And I'm not talking about the actor Michael Douglas. No, sir. I'm talking specifically William Michael Douglas. And there's a reason I'm calling this character this particular name, and there's a reason, and there's a way he's going to take Bond out. But I don't want to necessarily give all away the surprises just yet. So you got a name of the character. He does have a plan to take Bond out, and I actually have a person who's going to portray this character. But I want to save that surprise for the main course during the argument. So in that case, William Michael Douglas, remember that. I will concede the rest of my time.
All right. He's giving us just a preview. And the main event will come in the 5. All right, interesting choice here. Okay, Mr. Peck, what's your diabolical plan? What's your evil name? As soon as you're ready, the time will start.
What people know about the James Bond films, they know about their villains. Some of the great villains of James Bond film, even underrated ones like Sanchez from View to a Kill, or the other Timothy Dalton. I just want to make sure I got it right. Or basically to Le Chiffre in Casino Royale, and basically they're great underrated villains. When my villain will be named, it's called Mr. Burgundy. The reason I call that, which is I know it's a bit of outside the box name called Mr. Burgundy, but here's my reason why I call this character. The reason he calls Mr. Burgundy because he has basically sort of ideal mindset what to do with 007 along with it. And when I'm pitching my villain in this James Bond film, it's going to be a brand new James Bond film. It's going to be a brand new actor to play James Bond. And basically sort of like you sort of a foil along with it. He was sort of meaning mystery along with it. The only reason called Mr. Burgundy because he always has some burgundy velvet and envelope and have where he comes from along with it. That's what the name Mr. Burgundy. Basically, throughout the movie, he was sort of basically mystery and anonymous and has some goons along with it doing his dirty work along with it. And he even faced some frequent immediate corruption along with it. That's the reason I call Mr. Burgundy, and I'll explain more in detail along with it when I get to the 5-minute argument, and I'll concede my time with it.
Okay, conceded that 1 second. Excellent work. All right. Whew. Wow, we got a 3-name character, and we got Mr. Burgundy. Interesting. Oh, I want to hear this. We got to get in depth with these plans and how your plan's going to work. How's it going to work? How's your character going to take out Bond? We got to hear it. Your 5 minutes begins as soon as the first person starts.
All right. With my character, William Michael Douglas, there's a reason why he's called William Michael Douglas. Hello. WMD, a weapon of mass destruction. That's why this character is named that. He's going to be portrayed by probably the most underrated actor right now in Hollywood, who needs to get a heck of a lot more love than he gets. And I'm talking about Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill, the super loop of the Super Loops, the champion of champions. He's played a good guy for so many years. It's time for him to play a bad boy, a horrible, terrible person who wants nothing better. People kill for one of three reasons: love, money, or revenge. William Michael Douglas is out specifically for revenge. This guy was born and raised in England. He had a good education. He had parents. He had two sisters. But when he was just young, at the tender age of 10 years old, he lost both of his sisters in a building explosion that was caused by one of Bond's foes when he was on mission at the time. And he blames 007 for their specific deaths. So Douglas becomes obsessed with this idea of revenge. So what does he do? He trains in several different forms of armed and unarmed combat so he can be prepared to take on Bond when they meet up in a fight. So one day, Bond gets a message from M, right? They state that, hey, missiles have been stolen from a base overseas in Russia. Douglas lures Bond to an abandoned warehouse back in England, but it turns out that the site that he lures him to is the exact same site where his sisters were killed. So with that being said, he takes Bond out. He kills kills Agent 007. First time for real it's ever happened on screen in hand-to-hand combat, because he is trained in much better form, and he's also a few years younger than Bond is. So he has an age advantage on him. So he kills him in hand-to-hand combat, beats him down on the floor where it all started with him when he lost his sisters at that site on that floor, and then he finally takes his revenge when Bond is stunned during their little fisticuffs fight, and he takes a gun that's planted at the bottom of his in the bottom of his what is it called, his socks or whatever, pulls it out, shoots him, bang, right through the heart when he's stunned, and 007 is 100% gone, ancient history, never to be seen or heard from again. And that's why Henry Cavill is the best candidate to do this, because you would never expect Superman to play a bad guy. Well, guess what? This is going to get him the attention he deserves. This is going to get him some awards consideration. And to see him take out Bond, even though some people have been saying over the years that he should play the new James Bond, what better way to enter the Bond universe than to be in the guy that took out Agent 007?
Okay, all that's cool, but here's your problem, and really you shot yourself in the foot. He did play a bad guy in Mission Impossible Fallout, and along with it, he does play a villain, and basically you just picked the same version of it and put it in James Bond. We see that away from him, though, so basically yours is not very creative right here. And also he plays like a bit of an anti-hero in The Witcher along with it, so you basically, anything you said, though, just take it out of the window right here, because we have seen that character for him, though. We have seen that type of character that you just pointed out. We have seen play the bad guy, and he's great playing the bad guy in Fallout. We don't want to see this the same character but playing with James Bond, though. But mine, though, is basically sort of an enigma approach. It's mine basically like Kaiser Sose along with it. Basically, you don't know who that person is. It's basically sort of an enigma along with it, doing terrible, awful things, not only around England, but around the entire globe along with it. Basically a brand new type of Spectre type group along with it. Well, not exactly Spectre right here, but it's basically sort of a brand new crime syndicate along with it. It was basically the head mastermind, basically sort of like become like a detective story in a James Bond film along with it. It's sort of been mentioned like, who is this Mr. Burgundy? Why is this Mr. Burgundy along with it? It's basically sort of like a cat and mouse game for Bond to figure out
1 minute.
that mystery syndicate, Mr. person is sort of basically this guy along with it. So basically, I like Alan right here, and very good actor, but at the same time, you need an actor with my build along with it is sort of basically along with it. And the actor I picked, though, just for one film only, because he would be great as an evilistic villain with it, Michael Fassbender. That's the reason I picked him in that part along with it. He plays dastardly villains along with it. He played great anti-heels along with it. He was basically sort of like this guy on behind knees is really clean, sharp with him, but inside he's a monster along with it. He's sort of in charge all this thing going around with James Bond trying to figure out all the situations right here. With yours with Henry Cavill, though, like I said it again, I've seen this character before. I have seen the character in Mission Impossible Fallout. He's great at it. I don't want to see him again along with it. And basically mine is a little bit different.
Time. All right. Whew. Wow. Interesting arguments there. Interesting plans. End up with a dead Bond at the end. All right. Whew. Okay. So we started Sorry. Crack the neck there. We started with Ryan. We're going to start the closing with Mr. Peck. You've got 60 seconds as soon as you're ready, sir.
My thing with the reason I chose a character into Mr. Burgundy right here, it brings like a mystery to a characteristic when this Bond is though. Mine's a brand new villain. Mine is basically a brand new dynamic type of villain that we rarely see in James Bond. It's basically a detective story in the James Bond universe right here with my new Bond. And my actor I put my choice for Mr. Burger is Michael Fassbender. It really brings like more interesting techniques right here. Why is the color burgundy? Why he created these heinous, awful crimes, not only in England, but the entire world along with it. It's a little brains, a little complex cat and mouse game along with it. Where Ryan's though, you just pitch a character, and basically you kind of play you have to cast Henry Cavill. I have seen this character before. I have seen him in Mission Impossible Fallout. He does play like anti-heroes all along with it. I saw The Witcher, a lot of episodes. He's great in it, but we've seen that character before. We don't want to see it again with James Bond. We've seen it for Mac Monaco. Mine is a little bit different, bro. More intrigue and more inspiring. Bring a little like a detective story in the James Bond.
Time. All right. Whew. All right. Ryan, give us your final. Close it out. Your 60 seconds begins when you do, sir.
I'm actually going to use my extension on this one.
And your 2 minutes begins as soon as you do, brother.
Thank you. All right, your character's Burgundy, Fassbender, yada, yada, yada. First of all, Fassbender's played plenty of bad guys. And secondly, Henry Cavill's played a bad guy maybe 1.5 times, and they're not very memorable. I haven't heard good things about Witcher and Fallout. Quite frankly, Henry Cavill, I love you, man. I always have and always will. But your performance in Fallout, not that good. And it also, he wasn't even that good of a bad guy, to be honest. He was quick and almost easy to defeat in that movie. I mean, his reveal and stuff, it was a little too telegraphed. It was too easy to tell. With this one, his name is William Michael Douglas, WMD, Weapon of Mass Destruction. Boom. There is some good stuff and a memorable character for you right there. Bond has had several enemies over the years where they don't go after him for revenge. They just go after Bond because Bond keeps interfering with their plans and they're sick and tired of it. With this guy, he loses his members of his family. That is some serious stuff. That is barbarically tough to get through. So he gets to the point where he trains in all these different forms to make sure he is prepared for the day that he is ready to take on James Bond. So what does he do? Puts together a plan.
1 minute.
You know, thank you. He's a really smart guy. He's trained in all different forms of combat, whether it be armed or unarmed. And he finds a way to hire these guys, steal these missiles from Russia, because, comes from a good family. Actually, he comes from a wealthy family, to tell you the truth. And he gets this money, pays these guys to steal these missiles, lures Bond to that abandoned warehouse back in England. Turns out to be the site where his 2 sisters died when he was just 10 years old. How traumatic is that? Incredibly traumatic. So he takes Bond in hand-to-hand combat. Once their guns get thrown away from each other, he finds a way. Actually, I'm going to twist my decision on this one. Instead of finding something from his ankle holster, forget that. That's old and boring. He finds a way to get to his gun that's been knocked out from his hand from before, grabs the gun while Bond is stunned after he gives him a good punch to the jaw, and he's on the floor trying to catch his breath for a little bit, gets to the gun, points it right at Bond's heart. What does he do? Pulls the trigger. Boom. Ends Bond's life right then and there. Blood dripping all over the floor. Bond takes his last breath, and he is history. Ancient history. William Michael Douglas, Henry Cavill, book it, Hollywood.
Time. All right. Woo. Man. Okay. I know I took it someplace bleak, but that was their fault. They took it someplace bleak, trying to kill James Bond. How dare they? All right, Mr. Diaz, we're going to start with you. Who's getting your point and why?
Oh, my God. This is dark. Jonathan, every time I hear you say Mr. Burgundy, I think I want Burgundy for Inkman, right? It's just, good fight. In the end, Jonathan, you didn't answer how would he kill the second part of the question. Ryan answered both questions, so just focus on hitting him about the actor rather than, what the plan is. How would he defeat James Bond? Ryan gave the whole picture right there. Jonathan, I was waiting for you to bring up that we've seen the revenge story done before with Skyfall with Javier Bardem, and then Sean Bean and Goldeneye. Same type of plot, revenge plot. But relating, but why did I hit it? Full attention. God, I don't even the one that actually killed James Bond. Why you got my point?
All right, so we got a point for Ryan. All right, Kevin, what say you, sir?
I mean, I'm glad Jonathan said it because if he didn't, I was gonna about Mission Impossible Fallout. But Ryan, why didn't you bring up Goldfinger? I mean, Mr. Burgundy is a Auric Goldfinger copy if I've ever heard it. Um, uh, no, I mean these are good. It's just I like the Kaiser Soze idea, the enigma behind the scenes kind of idea. I do like the your idea of the WMD. I wish though he had more like weapons training instead of the hand-to-hand training, and then you had the hand-to-hand training, and then he ends up shooting him with a gun. So I kind of got lost in that train of thought. So even though there were a few disputes there, I do give my point just slightly to Jonathan.
All right. Woo! 1-1. Man, this tension. What's happening? All right, Andrea, it's down to you again. You got to be the tiebreaker. They're trying to break you.
I know.
Don't let them.
No, they won't. In this case, I'm gonna have to go with just because Jonathan was missing. Just as my fellow judge said, he's missing how Mr. Burgundy is going to kill 007. I was looking for that since it's part of the question. So it was written that it's gonna be like a cat and mouse game. It's gonna be a mystery. But I was looking for how is it gonna end? How will you take James Bond's life? So that. And also, aside from that, Ryan was able to give a specific scene on how he's going to do it with very much detail. So I'm going to have to go with Ryan on this one.
Okay, so, oh man, y'all did make me have to make a tiebreak. You did make it harder for me because we're tied 2-2. Dang it, which means we're going to the speed round. Going through the speed round. All right, here we go. So the speed round works like this. I'm going to give the question to you, okay? First person that says their name, I'm going to say the question twice. First person to say their name, you get to answer that question, right? Then the other person has to answer the question. Then you got 40 seconds, each one of you, to tell us why you picked what you picked. Then you got 30 seconds to kind of counter the other one, and then 20 seconds to wrap it all up. Speed round is dubbed thus for a reason. It's quick, thinking on your feet. All right, now, with this question. The end of the world is almost nigh. There's been so many things. Everybody's saying 2020 is the end. I agree. So I'm based this question off of a meme and off of my favorite in all the geekdom universes, my absolute favorite one is the kaiju universe, the Godzilla-verse, if you will.
Oh.
So we're staring out at a beautiful sunset. All of a sudden, we see a shadow coming up, rising, which signifies this is it. This is it. They predicted everything. This is it. This is the end. So I want to hear from which one of you, which shadow do you want to see, and how are they taking us out? So of all the monsters in the Godzilla universe, which one is coming and which one is taking us out? So I'll let you ponder that for a few seconds. Whoever says their name first gets to answer first.
Jonathan.
Ryan. Okay. So Ryan, you're looking out there on the horizon.
My God.
The last thing you want to see, but which one you want to see? What's your answer?
Oh, man, good thing I saw this movie in theaters. I'm going to go with, before he was King of the Monsters, I'm going to go with King Ghidorah. I'm going to go with King Ghidorah here, yeah.
All
I'm going to
right.
go with that beast from the east, man. I'm going to go with the big guy.
King Ghidorah.
Yeah.
King Ghidorah coming to take us all out. All right. Mr. Raptor Master, what say you? Who's your answer?
Mine is King Kong from Kong Skull Island.
Whoa! Kong Skull! My
I
God!
like that movie, man. I like that.
Oh
movie
my
too.
goodness!
Damn.
All right,
Okay.
man. I like that. That's a good answer. Good answer. Kong. Oh man, King Kong, the Kong Skull Island version,
That's
the
a good
meanest,
version,
if you
by the way.
will, of the version. Oh, and since we'll probably never see Godzilla fight him ever, that movie probably never coming out.
Ugh, I'm gonna miss
Wow.
that.
All right. So, since Ryan, since you answered first, we're gonna give your 40 seconds first. Okay. Hold on. 40 seconds first. And your time. Why is King Ghidorah gonna kill us, man? Tell us. Your 40 seconds begins as soon as you start talking.
I mean, King Ghidorah. Let's be real here, folks. King Ghidorah is huge. He's humongous. I think to a certain extent, he's bigger than King Kong from Kong Skull Island. And he's got what is it like? What is this like 3 heads or something? He could just burn us all alive with the 3 heads. And if one gets cut off, another grows in its place. Kind of like Hail Hydra. But that's the wrong franchise and the wrong film. But King Ghidorah is going to take us out with that fire breath, what have you. He's got 3 heads. He's got wings. He can fly around all around the world, kill us all with the fire breath. With all debris he blows away towards us, whether it be cars, buildings, windows, or anything else, a sharp object, he can kill us all with it. That's how we're going out King Ghidorah style.
Time. Whew. All right. Wow. Interesting. No, bleak. I went more bleak. Why did I do this to us? Because that's just how 2020 is going. All right, Mr. Peck, how is Kong taking us out, brother? Your time begins as soon as you do.
If you look at the poster of Kong Skull Island, you see Kong's face colored in the sun. When Kong goes to the sun, you know shit is about to get fucked. What I mean by that is this. He will destroy everything. He's basically taller here. He will personally get King Ghidorah the Stone Cold Stunner right here. He will possibly get King Kong the Rock Bottom along with it. He will basically destroy other building, and basically as soon as you run, he stops you right here, plants it in here, destroy everything in sight right here, and basically indestructible with fire. King Ghidorah take out his candy ass along with it. Basically, he will destroy everything in sight, and that's the wizard. We're all fine because King Kong is gonna kick our ass.
Oh my. Okay. Wow. I like passion in my arguments, and I think we see a little bit of that. Okay. Now, I'm a little afraid of the 30-second. What's going to happen here? All right. Wow. This is going to be interesting.
Man.
So 30 seconds. Ryan, you got 30 seconds. Okay, because it's going back to you again. 30 seconds. Tell us what's up. All right? Who's ending it?
All right. So with this character, King Ghidorah, he can lift Kong with his feet or his wings, whatever. Lift him up so high up into the sky that he can't breathe, and then drop him right down to earth and kill that guy. Whereas King Ghidorah can fly, jump, and go anywhere, any place, anytime, anywhere. Destroy us with his breath. He's got 3 heads. 3 heads are certainly better than 1 when it comes to King Kong's circumstances. So with that being said, King Ghidorah is going to truly lay the smackdown.
Time. All right, Mr. Peck, 30. How many more moves is Kong doing? When you're ready.
All right. Let's just say Kong and King Ghidorah meet. See what you do? Get one neck on King Ghidorah's neck and put his other hand into the King Ghidorah's head. One in his fist inside his intestine. Just pull it right out. One of the heads are dead. Did the same thing with the other, and did with another, and all of them are dead. And basically, along with after that, he will destroy the world along with it, and that's the reason we're all gonna die because King Kong is that powerful. Then King Ghidorah, he will destroy King Ghidorah very quickly, and after he destroys that, we're all pretty much doomed if he destroys it.
The end time. Oh my goodness! All right. Okay, this is it. Ryan, you got 20 seconds now.
Okay.
We're it. This is it. We all gonna die. It's just how. It's just how. When you're ready.
All right, enough of fantasy. Let's come back to reality for just a second. King Ghidorah is bigger, faster, and stronger than King Kong. Why? 3 heads, atomic breath, electrical breath, can fly Kong into the air, flung him into a building. Heck, if little planes can shoot on King Kong while he's hanging off the Empire State Building and he can fall to the ground and die there, King Ghidorah can do it faster and better than anyone else can. So King Ghidorah can win this thing.
Time. Whew. All right. Mr. Peck, when you're ready, you're 20. When you go.
Kong Skull Island, he was shot by helicopters. Nothing, he didn't kill him. Went like I said before. They have it in the movie. Trying to inside an insect, put attention, they're all dead. Let's just say, if Magong by right boots her down on the ground, that's how powerful Kong is. Everybody else will be dead. Along with destroy everything in sight, we're all doomed because King Kong will destroy us all. And listen, and King Kong, what gonna get Kong?
Okay. Judges, that was fun. That was fun.
I don't know even where to begin with this.
Well, you're going to have to begin, Mr. Diaz, because it's on you. Which one of these is going to ultimate destruction? What say you?
Oh my God! King Kong versus King Ghidorah. I mean, and not to point nobody mentioned, I put a pretty lay in front of King Kong and you get distracted. Boom. Dead.
Wow. Interesting.
Okay, but interested in be lost in a little bit and King Kong.
All right. Who's getting your point?
Yeah. I think Jonathan passed it. Jonathan alone. I mean, why I brought up maybe just drop Kong like volcano or nuke with him, maybe, but like Jonathan just went detailed graphically, and now I have picture it in my head. Who knows? We might get it in Kong versus Godzilla. Who knows?
Maybe. All right. So Jonathan's getting your point. Kong will kill us all. All right, Kevin. What say you, brother?
Yeah, not to suck the air out of it, but I'm just trying to go serious here. But the question was, it was not these two versus each other. It was how we were going to die. So Ryan laid out a really good, debris, fire, hellfire, brimstone, and then he even put up how King Ghidorah is bigger, faster, stronger, and planes killed King Kong. Yeah, my point's going to Ryan.
All right.
Pressure's on you now, Andrea.
Versus Andrea.
Once
again. Third time's the charm.
You really
Third time's the charm.
Okay.
All right.
This is one of the funniest
For Jonathan, it was.
rounds I've ever heard.
Jeez, he's trying to pull like 50 different wrestler quotes out of his hat.
All right.
Anyway, getting serious for a moment. The question was, how are we gonna die? So it's not gonna be King Kong versus King Ghidorah. So I'm giving my point to Ryan just because he was able to specify a lot more ways in which we all could die, basically.
And ultimately, that's what you want. That's what we want. All right, having said that, and your winner for this nerd fight is Ryan. Wow. What a battle. Man, this was exciting. A whole lot of fun. I'm going to go to our unfortunate backup guy, Mr. Peck. You fought
Hold on a second. Hold on a second.
Hold on. What?
Look,
what is going on here?
I'm watching backstage, and I'm seeing what's going on.
Oh, you're seeing it.
And Jonathan knows how I'm feeling right now about debates. But Ryan, you have no idea. And since you just won, I'm going to give you your congratulations. I will give you that. But you're seeing me next round. And you have no idea how I feel right now about this debate. But you will. You will know. And you'll know soon, sir. So just wanted to say, what's up? How y'all doing? Ryan, you better be ready, sir. Jonathan, good job. Ryan, congratulations. I'm waiting for your next round. That's all I got to say. I got to be up out of here. Subrat, thank you, man. I'll see y'all later.
And the secret revealed. There it is. Ryan, you got to take on Amaru. You got it.
I've been falling for 30 minutes.
That'll be it. The battle of the century will be Amaru and Ryan. That's your next opponent, sir. All right, but I want to get a few words from Mr. Peck. Mr. Peck, you're also always a great debater here. Always come up with the creativity and fantastic, entertaining ways. How you feeling? You came up a little short this time, but how you feeling overall?
And this is I just want to say congratulations, Ryan. Good luck against Amaru. I'm going to tell you that right now. I'm judging by his matches, and he's a very tough competitor. Just be careful and get ready.
Okay.
All right. All right. So, Ryan, you just won. You know who you got to face next. How you feeling, man?
Well, I can only think of a quote by the great man known as the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. Mean! Woo! By God! Gene! Let me just say this. Jonathan, thanks for the pro wrestling references. I appreciate that. As someone who grew up in the WCW, WWE days of the late 90s and early 2000s, I appreciate you, good sir. Jonathan, you were a great competitor. You gave me a great match. I appreciate that. So good on you, sir. I wish you the best of luck in your future matches because you're a great guy. You're a great competitor. I see good things for you coming down the line. But other than that, yeah, I don't know how this happened. I don't know how I got to become such a great debater. Maybe I watched that movie with Denzel too many times, or maybe I've watched too many. Maybe I've seen too many movies, or maybe I'm just a good talker. I don't know. I mean, people say I got a perfect face for radio, so I guess I could do voiceover work. But man, I got to say, this feels great to win. It feels good to be in the winner's circle again. I didn't expect that to happen twice, especially with nerd fights, to be more specific. But no, this is great, and I'm looking forward to my next match. Amaru, I got a lot of respect for you, man. You're, for you to show up out of nowhere at the end of my match, in my ring, in my yard, dude, you and I got to have a little talk about that. But Amaru, I'm looking forward to our match now because you talk a big game. You are a good guy. I've been on your show. I've seen what you do. You got some good work. You got some good projects ahead of you. I wish you the best of luck with that. I truly do. But I've won 2 matches now, so this gives me a little bit of a pep in my step. So I'm going to bring the fire. I'm going to bring the energy. I'm going to do what I do best tomorrow, and that is electrify the audience at home. And I'm going to electrify the judges to the point where they can't say no, but to Ryan, they're going to give me the point. They're going to do it. It's their destiny. It's their fate, boys and girls. So other than that, I'm just happy to be here, and thank you to the judges panel. You guys did a great job tonight. Thanks for the question writers because these were some good questions, some crazy questions, but fun ones, I'll say that. And hey, Jonathan, no disrespect, man, but I did have Gray's Sports Almanac, and I read it, and it said that I would defeat you in this matchup. Well, guess what? It happened. You can't deny that anymore. You can't. But this was fun. Thanks for having me, and I look forward to my next match. Amaru, I'm going to do everything I can to put a stop to your crazy streak you got in your head thinking that you're the world champ, because to be the man, you got to beat the man. And right now, I'm the man. So, Amaru, bring it, because I'm going to bring my game. I know you'll bring your A game, and it's going to be a great match. And the 20,000 people that watched that match in the interwebs, in the arena, we're going to give them great ratings, man. So, Amaru, I'll see you soon, son.
All right. Woo!
Question for Ryan, real quick. Okay, so
quick question there, Mr. Peck.
Does the Gray Sports Almanac say you can win over Amaru?
I think it does. I mean, after I defeated you, if I, hey, anything's possible, my good friend. My future is whatever you make it, to make it a good one. Both of you. It'll happen, man. It'll happen.
Nice. All right. So this was a great battle. Mr. Peck, we're definitely going to see you again soon. And then, Ryan, we're going to see you versus Amaru very, very shortly. And I'll make sure to come up with some very, very challenging questions for that one. I'm looking forward to that for sure. I want to thank my judges, Chris, Kevin, Andrea, good job. Welcome back. Andrea, we're happy to see you. Kevin, we're happy to see you as well. Mr. Diaz, thank you so much for making this job real hard on me, going through the speed round here. And it was a great, great battle. And all of you out there, look forward to the next one. The next one's going to be Ryan versus Amaru. So you know, if you're out there reading a book, watching a movie, whatever you're doing, make sure you're taking notes, because if it's in the world of being a nerd or a geek, you better push up them glasses because you might be ready to fight. All right, aloha, everyone. Take care.